Alrighty, well, Rocky's taken off his bandage. There it is right there. I don't know where he is, though. I've walked around looking for him, and I can't find him. I don't know where he's disappeared to. Anyway, I just cut... I just cut this block here in half. So I can make an angle for my other roof piece that I need to put up, you know. I don't think I'm going to do that today, but I will do it soon. But I can make an angle for it anyway. And yeah, I can do that then. Yeah, I have a feeling that the maggots that my cat lady has been finding on Rocky, probably what's happened is the flies are laying their eggs in his wounded leg when he don't have the bandage on, and then the eggs are hatching, and that's why we're getting the maggots anyway. It's an awful mess. But again, I'm going to reiterate the situation as it stands right now. As it stands right now, I have signed over authority over Rocky to somebody else in order to get him looked at in a serious way, because the veterinary people were not wanting, well, they just wouldn't deal with me. Really, they wouldn't deal with me in a serious way anyway. So I had to sign authority over all that to another person, which I did. And now, because they respect her, they actually did look into the situation with his leg without requiring $600 worth of tests. And it turns out that cancer has developed in the leg since the snake bite. It did start out the way he had a snake bite on his leg. That's where all this started back in 2022. So that's 3 years ago now. It was right around this time of the year that it happened. But now he's got cancer in that leg, immediately above the snake bite wound. That's the big lump above the snake bite wound, which you know. Anyway, some people here have been kind of busting my balls about the fact that I'm not having Rocky's leg amputated and having him put on chemotherapy or radiation or whatever they do. Well, it's like this. The veterinarian does not want to do that. He has strongly advised against it. According to the veterinarian, he probably wouldn't survive the surgery. And if he did survive the surgery, he'd probably die shortly after. And so the veterinarian doesn't want to do it. The veterinarian says the best thing is there's palliative care at this point. The lady who I signed him over to, the cat lady as I call her, my cat lady, she agrees with that. To the point, if I even say the word amputation, she shoots me a dirty look. And the funny thing is, I agree with both of them. I don't think it'd be a good idea to cut his leg off and put him through all that either. I don't think there'd be any gain in it. And the other part, so anyway, but even if I did, I don't have the authority to do it. I have legally given up authority over Rocky. Rocky still stays here with me. I still feed him. I still do this, that, and the other thing for him and with him and all the rest of it. But I am no longer his legal owner. Now, and people can say what they like about the word owner, but that is what it is considered. I agree that we are more custodians of these animals than owners, but it is called ownership. That's why I use the word owner. I am no longer his legal owner. I no longer have the authority to authorize any medical treatment for Rocky. I gave up that authority in order that he could get medical treatment, because he wasn't getting any medical treatment to speak of before when I was taking him. So I did what I had to do. Now, it just so happens, though, that even if I was still legally in a position of authority, to authorize treatment for Rocky, I'm actually in agreement with the veterinarian and with the cat lady. The cat lady just gives me a dirty look if I say the word amputation, because she thinks that I'm starting to think that maybe we should go that route. And she's dead set against it. So that's why she gives me the dirty look. I have been pretty clear that I'm not in favor of that. But as soon as I say the word amputation, she gets bent out of shape because she thinks that I'm looking to do that, which I am not. And as I've said, even if I was, I don't have the authority to do it. Plus, I don't have the money to pay for it. Look, if you're going to exercise authority to do something, you would effing well better have the money to pay for it. You can't ask other people to pay when you're trying to exercise some authority in a situation. If you want to be in a position of authority, you'd better have the money to pay to do whatever it is you decide to do. I'm not in a position where I have the money to pay. You know, it would be thousands and thousands of dollars. It'd be like a $6,000 or a $7,000 or an $8,000 operation. I don't have that kind of money. So even if I had signing authority, and even if I believed that it was the best thing, I don't have the authority to do it. And I don't have the money to pay for it. So I would be trying to exercise authority I don't have in a situation where I don't have the money to pay for it. You know, now as far as this whole business about surviving cancer goes, yes, I know some people go through all that and they survive. I believe that the majority don't, though. Based on my own experience. It's just based on my own experience of people I know who have had cancer. But the majority have not survived that I know. I mean, to me, it's sort of like, yeah, you know what? You could get rich going to the casino. It's possible. Like, look, I could go now. I have a truck. There are casinos around here. Our government here runs casinos because it's a freaking gangster government. But anyway, except just like Al Capone, casinos and speakeasies, that's our government. Anyway, though, but still, they do exist. They're run by the government. Within 50 miles of where I sit right now, there are 2 casinos. Within a 50-mile radius of here, there are 2 casinos that I know of. There may be others I don't know of, but there are 2 that I know of. And I know how to get to both of them if I want to go. I could get in my truck and go to the casino. I could take what little money I have and put it down on the spin of a wheel or on a card game or whatever. And in theory, I could leave there rich. I could leave there with hundreds of thousands of dollars in my pocket, maybe even millions. In theory. In theory, that could happen. In reality, I'd probably lose all my money. That's what would probably happen. The odds are not with a person who does that. You know, I mean, there are far more people who have lost what little they had at a casino than there are that have come out of a casino rich when they walked in poor and came out rich. You know, I mean, and so to me, this cancer thing is sort of the same idea. You know, yes, you may survive. It's like the spin of the wheel. That spin of the wheel may make you a millionaire, or it may take what little you still have from you. Now, it could be argued that if you have cancer, you already have nothing to lose, so why not? But I would say that, in a way, you do have something to lose because you may just add to your suffering quite a bit and not really gain anything in the end other than a few more days or months or maybe even a few more years. But the quality of life in most cases is never what it should be, you know. And most of the people I know that have had cancer have gone through all that and died anyway because the cancer's just moved. I had an uncle that had his leg taken off. They took his leg and half his ass is what they did. Screwed him up real bad. And then it went into his lungs and he died 6 months later after going through all that. I don't want that for Rocky. I'd much sooner leave him alone, let him live as long as he can, as comfortably as he can, and then when the time comes, do what needs to be done. But I don't even like to talk about it because it upsets me so much. But I accept reality. It doesn't matter if I like it or not. Reality is what it is. Life is hard. Reality is hard. A lot of the time, reality is hard. I accept that. It doesn't mean I like it. It doesn't mean I'm reveling in it. I'm not wanting to be rid of Rocky. I'm not hoping he'll die soon. I'm not looking forward to the day when I have to take him to the vet's office and alive and in a cage and carry him out of there dead. I'm not looking forward to that. My heart is going to be broken more than most people can even imagine. I'm really frightened of that day, and I know it's coming. But here's the thing. I'm not going to torture the hell out of him and spend a bunch of money I don't have. And as it stands, it's not an option anyway because I don't have signing authority anymore. Even if I wanted to do that, I don't have signing authority anymore. So it's not an option anyway. But even if it were, I wouldn't do it. So, like I say, for these people that are telling me I'm not doing enough, and all the rest of it, all I can tell you basically is you don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about. And no, I don't feel guilty. And no, I don't think that fighting is the only way to live. I admit I'm kind of a stupid person. Look, I was diagnosed mentally retarded twice when I was a child, so obviously I'm not the brightest person. However, I was diagnosed borderline mentally retarded once and mildly mentally retarded the other time they tested me. So perhaps I don't have the knowledge or the life skills or whatever, or the wisdom to survive in this world. Although it's a funny thing because I've done it for 57 years so far, and the odds have not been with me through most of that. Yet I've still managed to do it, so I don't know what to tell you. I suppose God has been with me, and I've been fortunate in that regard. What do they say? God looks after drunks and fools. Well, I don't drink, so I'll leave it to you to figure out which of the two I am. Anyway, I think God has looked after me in a lot of ways. Probably saved me from myself more than once. But the bottom line is, here I'm saying the bottom line is again, I'm trying not to do that, but still. I said it again, so what? Fight me. There you go, fight me. Fighting's the only way, yeah. But no, the bottom line is, though, too, again, I just said it, but, when you're a kid in school and that's how you survive is by fighting because it has to be established who's where in the pecking order and all the rest of it. I didn't make those rules, okay? That's just how it was. And if you were a boy at that time, that's how it was. And so, yes, I did fight. I didn't initiate fights. I was actually a rare type because I didn't initiate fights. Most of them did. I didn't. I just didn't back down from them either. Now, that day when they grabbed up that kid to punch me in the face, and then they wanted me to hit him, and I said, let him go and I'll fight him, I would have really preferred that none of that was happening. But the fact of the matter is, I couldn't lose face by being a coward. I had to keep my face. I had to maintain something because that's how it was. And again, you may not like it, but that's the reality of the situation. That was the reality of that place and of that time. Do I think it was a great reality? No, I don't. I mean, obviously I suffered for it. So clearly it wasn't a great reality for me. But it was the reality, whether I liked it or not. And I had to live with what was at that time. I had to live with the situation as it was and do my best with it. And that's what I did. In that situation, I had two options. I could walk away and be branded a coward and be attacked from all sides continuously. I could go against my conscience and step up and punch the kid in the stomach while he was being held back, which I regarded as a reprehensible thing. Or I could do what I did and say, let him go and I'll fight him. And then, of course, end up getting the result I got, which also wasn't great. You know, in this life, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you face situations where there really isn't any good result. Where it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to pay some sort of a price for it because that's just how it is. And that's not always in your control. You know, there are all kinds of variables come into play. So, yeah, I did what I felt I had to do at the time. And yes, I paid a heavy price for it. The only way I wasn't going to pay socially is if I went along with the crowd and went over and punched the guy in the gut. But then I'd pay because my conscience would bother me. And to this day, look, I'm no longer around that crowd, but it would bother me to this day that I did that. I feel good about how I handled that situation, even though I paid a high price for it. I paid a higher price than I could ever have imagined I'd have to pay at the time. And in a way, I'm still paying for that too, because my health is all buggered up because of it. So yeah, I'm still paying. And because they have all kinds of crap written on my medical files, so it's hard to get good treatment and so on. That's all ultimately can be traced back to that incident. But the bottom line is, here I go again with that, the thing of it is, in the end, this situation with Rocky, it just is what it is. The cat is 17 years old. That's 84 in our years. If you're 84 years old, you know you don't have that much time left. How many people see 100? And even if you see 100, that's only 16 years away. That's a very short time if you're 84, you know. I think most 84-year-olds, if they were told they're going to have their leg cut off, so that they can maybe possibly live, but who knows, they'd probably say it's just time to go. You know, this is the end. That's all. That's what I would say. I'd say that now. So I know I'd say it at 80.